Question: how do you bankrupt a company that creates two of the most successful home computers ever? Answer: you are Commodore. Here we have the Commodore 16. It was created in 1984, that is after the Commodore 64 came out. It is in no way compatible to the Commodore 64. It does look familiar, but it has different joystick ports, different power adapter, different tape drive, different everything. The graphics...
A reset button.
Oh, it does have a reset button, which is an improvement, but it ends about there. The CPU is somewhat more powerful, but the graphics are poorer, the sound is poorer, and everything is poor, really. So not many games came out ever. This was intended to replace the VIC-20, but the Commodore 64 did that. So this was really a system that nobody needed and that very few people bought. However, Commodore didn't stop there. They went on to create the infamous 264 series, where they added more memory to the Commodore 16 to come up with the Plus 4. This had 64 kilobytes of RAM, which was the same amount as in the C64, but otherwise it was not compatible. Also, they included some office applications and marketed this as a productivity computer. Apart from that, it was basically identical to the 16. It had a nice case and a nice keyboard, but the other applications were limited. Yet another...
Help.
Oh yeah, help. Yet another version of the same basic design was the 116, is where you take out memory from the Plus 4, replace the proper keyboard with an unusable rubber one, and you get this machine. This came out only in very limited quantities, which was fortunate. It's basically the same as the Commodore 16, but in half the size and half the relevance. Then, by the end of the 80s, the game systems like Nintendo and Sega were really big, and Commodore had the Commodore 64, which was selling reasonably well still, even though it was almost 10 years old. So what they decided to do is they took out all the ports and keyboard from a Commodore 64, put it in this case, and left only the cartridge port and called it the C64 game system. Now, the games cartridges actually were a good idea because you could put a lot of stuff on them, but they were really expensive to make, and once you had them, they would also work on the regular C64, so people had very little incentive to buy this new system. They made about 20,000 of these, 18,000 of which were recalled or not sold, and they were dismantled and sold as Commodore 64s.